Or, to use your boat analogy, how do you get a boat seen in the first place? It's all well and good having all this, but how do you make sure people can see through the mist?
Okay, so there's sort of two questions there. One is, how do you get to the decision maker? And the second is, how do you make sure that people even are aware of your work and it's seen? Okay, getting to the decision maker, there's a resource I'd recommend, Ari Galper, unlockthegame.com. He's the one in terms of if you're having to get through gatekeepers and stuff. He's my whole take that, you know, marketing is about going for the truth of if it's a fit comes from this guy. And unlockthegame.com. Yeah. So yeah, if you're in that situation where you're dealing with secretaries and admin assistants and executive assistants and you can't reach the person, he's got some brilliant thoughts that are all very human, no pressure, that kind of subverts the dynamic. Because the challenge is, if you call, just check out your visceral response to this. You pick up the phone. Hi there, my name's Tad Hargrave. I'm calling from Marketing for Hippie. You see what just happened? Mm-hmm. You all had the exact same visceral reaction. What is it?
Put the phone down.
Put the phone down. This is, what is this that you're getting?
Sales.
You're getting a sales call. It's a telemarketing call. That tone of voice, that's introduction. So anyways, he has ideas on how you can approach those kinds of calls differently. I won't go into it because he's got tons of stuff on his website and book and resources that go very in depth. So that's for that. Okay, then how do you make sure your stuff gets seen? So this gets to, there are 3 roles of marketing, right? And I go into this more in the starter kit. So this is just an overview. So there's 3 roles of marketing, meaning everything you ever do marketing-wise has to achieve these 3 roles. The first one is exactly what you're asking. Is you got to get their attention. Okay. Second is you filter, which is this: is it a fit business? And third, you lower the risk, of them taking the first step. So that's the context this fits into. But this question of attention, how do you get attention? Another way to ask that question is, what is already getting the attention of the people you want to reach? Yeah, because it's one thing to say, how do I get the spotlight to shine on me? That's hard. Finding out where the spotlight's already shining and going and standing there is easier. Yeah. Another way to look at this. So I did a workshop in London years ago, and I invited a colleague of mine, Karina Gordon Barnes, to come and speak. And I just finished talking about ideal client. And her first words out of her mouth, just a half an hour, talk about whatever you want to talk about. Her first words are, stop looking for your ideal clients. I just thought, why did she betray me instantly? But then she changed it. The whole meaning of it changed by the second part of the sentence. She said, stop looking for your ideal clients. Why? Because your ideal clients are already looking for you. That's worth underlining. Your ideal clients are already looking for you. So then what does marketing become? It becomes about making it easy for the people who are looking for you to find you. And one of the ways we make it very easy to find us is, for them to find us, is we think, okay, where are they already putting their attention? And this gets down to the hubs conversation. So if there's somebody you're wanting to reach, it's like, well, do they go to certain events? Who are they already connected to? Do I have somebody who could make an introduction? Do they listen to certain podcasts? Do they, these kinds of questions. If I know that somebody I'm trying to reach will be at an event, I can go to that event, and I can just introduce myself. Or I may just know somebody who can make an intro. Maybe they could send an introductory email. Here's the best subject line you can put on any email. There's no subject line better than this. John Smith sent me. Insert name of the person who introduced you. See what I'm saying? Just think of your best friend, whatever their name is. Hey, your best friend sent me. You will read that email. So if you can be introduced in that way, that's one of the ways you get their attention. So those are my general thoughts, but feel free to push back or qualify your question.
Yeah, it goes back to the first part of the question, the business to business side. It's actually not even knowing who the person is to ask for in an organisation.
Yes. Okay. So this is one thing that Ari Galper talked about in making a call like this. Is the opening might be just like, instead check out the difference of this. Hi, my name's Tad Harger from Marketing for Hippies. That versus, hi there. I was wondering if you could help me out. Oh, sure. Or, yeah, who's this? Oh, sorry, this is Tad. And I was calling because I'm a little rusty on this, but it'd be like, I was calling because I wasn't sure who to talk with in your company about this. I don't know if your company is struggling with this problem or looking for this result, island A or B. But I just wasn't even sure who to talk with, and I was hoping you could direct me. Oh, that would be this person. And then he's got more thoughts on how you handle it if they're interrogating or questioning. But instead of going in for the pitch, we're just thinking, like, yeah, I don't know who to talk to. Can you direct me? And sometimes, oh, that's me, or oh, that'd be this person, or this is the admin assistant for that person. Yeah. But one of the ways he would handle cold calls is instead of saying, trying to schmooze right away, it would just be, yeah, I was just calling because I wasn't sure if your company was looking to get this result or if your company was struggling with this problem. We have something, I don't know if it would be a fit or of interest, but I thought I would call. Some of those phrases I dropped right there sound, I don't know, casual, accidental, but there's a couple videos I did called, I think if you just go to YouTube, search Tad Hargrave pressure reducing phrases or something like this. I've got about 20 of them at this point. I'm going to make a little ebook with it. But there are a number of phrases, and these seem so small, but the consequence is so big, because what we're taught in traditional sales is the biggest skill you got to have is overcoming objections, which is just so wild. You take everything you know about consent in other areas of life, and it's mad, the whole sales thing. They say no, just try harder. Keep pushing. So I think the biggest skill we need, two skills. One, the ability to identify when they feel pressured. Just to be attuned enough that you can notice they're feeling pressured in this moment. They're feeling cornered, they're feeling, And then second, how do you relieve that pressure when it happens? Why? Because as soon as there's the pressure, as soon as they think you're selling them, you're trapped in a game that nobody wants to be in. But if you can diffuse it, you can get back to just having a human conversation. So you're not pitching them anymore. But so there's a lot of phrases like, no pressure. I don't know if this would be a fit. I wasn't sure. I know you must be busy. What do you think? Even the body language of this versus, how's the food? Isn't the food here great? And you're the owner asking the question. And what you're telling the person is, oh, you don't want to know. How's the food? Isn't that fantastic? Sure, okay. Versus, how's the food? See the difference. What this communicates is, I don't know. I really am asking you. I want to know. So we want to diffuse the pressure. And so in an approach like this, if we trigger the salesperson thing, it's over. It's just, you're dead in the water right there. So we have to kind of find ways to not trigger that. So we're just talking to, humans. And part of it is tone of voice. Part of it is the language. Most of it is the mindset of, I'm not calling to get a sale. I'm just calling to get to the truth of it, if there's anything here at all. Yeah, but Ari's stuff I just recommend goes more deeply. And also actionplan.com, a colleague of mine, Robert Middleton, does business to business specifically, and he's got the goods.
Actionplan.com.
Yeah, he's one of the OGs of this whole scene. Any other questions? Yeah.
How do I show up and market consistently when I've got limited time?
Okay, so how do you show up and market consistently when you have limited time? This came up yesterday. There's going to be a video coming out about this on my YouTube soon. So maybe I won't go into it as in depth, but watch for it. It'll be out in the next couple of weeks. Okay, but in general, how to be consistent when you have limited time? ultimately you have to schedule it. It has to be in your calendar. And you've got to figure out the rhythm that's going to work for you. So it's like, okay, I have an hour a week. That hour, you turn off your phone. And you just, I am focused on marketing now. But also, I think it's important that you find an approach to marketing that works for you. Yeah. Weight Watchers has that line. They say there's one form of exercise proven to be the most effective for weight loss. And people say running, walking, swimming. No, the one that you'll do. That's the one. Same weight gain. You want to put on muscle? Which is the best? I don't know. Lots can work. Which one will you do? Is public speaking great for marketing? It's fucking awesome. If you'll do it. But what if you just are terrified of public speaking? This is mad. If you are a paralytically shy introvert, networking is not your thing. Some of you love writing. That's an affliction. You can't help it. Just write your ideas. So have a Substack, a blog. That's a great form of marketing. Some of you can't stand to see yourself on video. Why would you do that to yourself? You see what I'm saying? There's so many. So part of the reason I think people aren't consistent is they haven't found a way to market that actually feels good to them. In the even the structure of it, but also then if we're doing ways of marketing that feel awful, we will avoid it. If it feels unethical to you, if it goes against your conscience, you're just not going to do it. It'll never look like that. Avoidance. It'll just look like, oh, I've got to tidy. Oh, I got to help my friend with something. Yeah. It'll be that. So finding something that we love to do, scheduling it in, putting it in our calendar, and it's not just something you love to do, but it also has to work. In the beginning I talked about relationship and sustenance, like it has to feed you. So let me just say, for most of you, there's one approach that is, for a service provider, this is the one. If you had to leave and you don't get anything out of this day except this, and there's a resource, it's not me, we can help the guy Bradley Morris. Just go on YouTube, Bradley Morris Signature Workshop. Just YouTube that. There'll be a bunch of videos that come up. Watch them. So Bradley Morris Signature Workshop. And the idea is get in front. Stop trying to just reach your own people. This is one of the biggest challenges we have. Well, I have an email list. How big is it? Not that big. But you can only go to the well so many times before it's dry. You might have noticed. Like the first time you put out something new, big response. Oh, everyone loved it. You do it again. No response. Fuck. I thought this would be, because everyone who was going to sign up has already signed up. Now, people on that list might in a year be ready, but they're not ready now. Fruit isn't ripe. You got to wait. So there's a limit to your own list, meaning you got to then get hubs, and you get in front and you do what he calls a signature workshop, which is basically like an hour-long presentation. If it's online, if it's in person, maybe you can stretch to 3 hours. I mean, the day-long workshop, in some ways, this is a version of that. But this is where you share your point of view. This is where you share your take on things. And this hinges on having a clear island A and B. Because what you're doing in that presentation is saying, and the title of the workshop is, struggling with this problem, want this result, basically. And they come, you just say, this is my take on it. You share a bit about your story, and then you say, here's how I can help. I'm just saying, as a service provider, nothing is going to get better results than that. Why? Because it just puts you in front of people. They get a chance to meet you. They get a sense of your vibe. And then if you have a good offer, that's an easy next step. Perfect. And that can be a free thing. Like I've got the ethical marketing starter kit. So you could have a starter kit. Look, hey, if you want to learn more, there's a free thing. And that could have like a little autoresponder, email series. Or it might be something cheap. It could be an offer into a 30-day program. You say, I've got 5 weeks of calls. Join that if you'd like to as a next step. But getting in front of people, sharing your point of view, letting them meet you, I don't know of anything better. After 20 years, that's what it comes down to for a service provider. That's the main thing. Yeah. Does that help? Okay. Other questions?
Is it possible to do without social media?
Yes. Also, Bradley Morris. Okay, same guy.
Yay.
Just search on YouTube, Bradley Morris, Marketing Without Social Media. He's got so much stuff on this. And he had the experience where he... how did this happen? He was in Salt Spring. He was up on a hilltop. which they call a mountain adorably. But he's up on this hilltop, and it's sunset. It's a beautiful sunset, and his first thought is this would be a great Instagram thing, and it disturbed him. And he thought, what is happening? That's my first relationship to life. And he had a disturbing dream about, I think, like a robot, like a cyborg infecting him, and he thought, I gotta get out of this. So he stopped all social media. He's still not on social media. He has a thriving business. In fact, you notice I'm on social media. It's the place I go to share my memes. So I enjoy it. I think it's useful. Why? Because it makes it easy for people to find you. It makes it easy for people to share your work. There's a lot of benefits. It makes it safe to check you out. Like, raise your hand if you saw a bunch of my stuff on social media before you came here. Okay, so, a third of you. So yeah, it has benefits. But if you came to me and say, Tad, in the next 6 months, this is desperate. I need to get clients. I would and I have limited time. I'd say stop all social media. Cut it. That's the long game. Social media is a long game. It's a kind of building familiarity, building trust, sharing your point of view in small little ways. But if you want clients urgently, then I would just say, pick your niche, go narrow, just focus. Don't try to be everything to everybody. Pick one group of people on one island that has one problem. Laser in on that. They want a specific result, come up with an offer for those people, and then find out where do those people hang out and get in front of them and just share your point of view and make an offer of some kind. That's what I would say. There's other ways to, do it. And hey, Bradley has like 5 different, maybe it's more. I think he's got a PDF about this, but I would just search his stuff. He's got a ton of thoughts on this. And also there's a woman in England, Viv Guy, Vivguy, and she does also marketing with social media. And also, if you want to do it locally, posters, those work. If you put them in the right places, that's not nothing. There's lots of ways to market. Man, do you want to market online or locally, or what's your thought?
See what happens, because but I find being on the likes of Facebook, it just drains me, and I can't do it, and then I get blocked, my creativity gets blocked. Yeah, just to remember, everybody, there's a real world. You enjoyed the little groups with each other. It was like a Zoom room, but in person. There is a real world. There's a real local community where you could be doing your work. Now, the lockdowns just jarred so many of us. It's scary. It's like, I don't want to build that business because that could all be cut from under me again. I get it. And it is still there. There's all sorts of ways to market yourself locally. I'm just going to give you a few gems here. You could host a meetup group on the theme. So if I lived in Newcastle, I could say, hey, I'm having a hippie entrepreneur meetup once a month. And every time I do a 20-minute talk on something, and most of it is just people meeting each other, but there's a little bit of content. And then at that, which is free, I say, hey, I'm doing a free evening, and please come to that as my guest. Everyone else pays in the public. You're part of the meetup. You come for free. They come to that. At that intro workshop, that's where I talk about the next thing. You could do that. You could host parties. Yeah. You could I know a theater company in Edmonton, they just started hosting parties, and they became the coolest place. Like, this place could be hosting a party once a month as a mixer for folks in the holistic scene. You know what I'm saying? Have DJs, have a little groovy dance party, a little cozy space. They could sell drinks and stuff, and boom. So you can host parties. You can do a hubs gathering. A hubs gathering means you figure out who are all the people who might be connected to my people, and you bring them together and you say, hey, we all reach the same person. I'm a dog trainer, you're a dog walker, you're a dog groomer, you're an animal communicator, you have a dog food store or whatever. We all have the same client. We should meet each other. So you could do that. Host 25 people, get together for a few hours to meet each other. All of this works really well locally. No social media required at all. There's tons of things you can do, and we just forget about it. So. Who else? Yeah.
Kind of off the back of that, about social media, I feel like I really struggle with actually